What I would like to say is that in every nation, every country, there's the age of the majority. There's the contractual age, whereby it promotes one from being a child to an adult. So, like in Kenya, the contractual age, the majority age is 18 years. In the UK, is around 16 years, where somebody is seen to be sufficient enough to be an adult, or to do things as an adult, or think like an adult. So I think I have no problem with that, and majority of Kenyans have no problem with the age being 18 years. You had the other time when we wanted to reduce the age for consent,
right?
Yeah, for consent to 16 years. Nobody was for it because they saw that we are not ripe for it. So that could also be a similar thing when it comes to leadership. Although even in the Bible, leaders were chosen, people like Jesus, David, they were chosen from a very tender age. Jesus was 12 years old, if I can remember. So I tend to believe that once we reach the contractual age, it matures you, it makes you mature as an adult, at least to know what you are doing, how to move forward as an adult, and probably to think right, in quotes, if I may, so in quotes.
So you're saying
so
there's
no
something
problem.
like too young?
I have no problem. There's something like too young.
And that's where you're disagreeing.
That's why one of the challenges that we faced during our campaigns is that when Babu was contesting for Embakasi's constituency and other youthful candidates and youthful leaders, we were being told that we are still young. Our elders, our mothers, our fathers, majority or some of them thought that we are still those university kids, you know, the way they put it. To a mother, to a father, we will always be a kid irrespective of our age. But again, when we are going to look for votes, we felt that we were ripe enough, that we could take the mantle and at least change the lives of these people, at least transform their lives for better. But to some of them, they thought that these guys, they are not ripe. So that can tell you that when you lower the age to come to around probably between 12 to 16 or to 17, people will still think that there's that stigma.
Okay,
Yes.
let's dive into, and feel free to jump in at any point, but I do want to ask you a little bit about the fact that the visible political backing that you had. How did you build that? Where did it come from?
I think as Babu Owino, when you are given an opportunity to lead right, because leadership should make you a better person, not an arrogant person, to be a humble person, to change the lives of the people. As a comrade, when I was serving the comrades, the reason why I served the comrades for the longest time possible is because of the work that I was doing at the university. That's why the comrades saw that it is only Babu Owino who can actually lead us in one way or the other. So when it comes to that, I served for 4 terms, 3 consecutive times and 1 broken time. That's 2011, 2012, when I graduated my first degree. So I tend to believe that when you're given an opportunity, exploit it. Make sure you serve people. But people serve differently. People serve differently. My type of leadership is what probably has gravitated me to be a member of parliament, because when the people of Embakasi East saw that I was delivering to the comrades, they decided to poach me from the university.
And lead you. I want to come to your type of leadership in a minute, but it looks like Muthiora and Jimmy want to jump in. Briefly. Yeah.
Actually, I'm very fortunate that on the panel, I have 2 University of Nairobi alumni who can attest to the kind of work that goes there. Many people have been wondering, how come Babu Owino ran for chairman for 4 terms, but today it's out there. He believes that there's this thing about being too young to be ready for office, which I think during his time he thought maybe the other comrades were not old enough to step up to the chairmanship.
I think His Excellency is getting it wrong.
Time and time again, which I would disagree with. Because in reality, it's about being able to deliver. If you're able to meet the people's expectations and needs, then you're ready for leadership.
Can we get Jimmy's comment before you respond, Babu? Yes.
Yeah, thank you. I think the issue is not just the age. Babu talked about contractual age. But what is the risk appetite and your ability to bounce back after going through what Suzanne went through? That's also a factor. There are other leadership positions that young people can occupy. Even at the local health facility. I know, Moshima, you have health facilities. The health facility management team provides slots for young people. At 18, that is a safe space, because the brutality that is there in the political landscape in Kenya, if it hits you at 18, you may not recover back.
Right.
Politics is transacted in the currency of violence, force, and
Aggression.
all those underground things, which at 18 you may not be ready for. And you may misinterpret it. So there are other leadership positions, and many young people occupy informal spaces. They lead, they organize at the community level, they organize small clubs. Those can be very good launching boards for.
And that,
yes.
you're saying that could be a good sort of like board,
Yes.
jumping board to then leap into politics? Is that the point you're making, that there's a way you can...
You can start slowly. You can be inspired to start big on the other side. But the idea is, when you're hit, when you're hit, how do you recover? How do you bounce back? What do you do after that?
And I think we'll come to that after the other break, because for me it's important to hear how you all bounce back. You've heard their responses. You kind of, in a sense, are saying it's contradicting itself.
Back, yeah? I mean, he does have a point. The contractual age is 18 for work that should be done by adults, and that includes elective posts. But he also has a good point that there are spaces that young people can occupy. I mean, in school, if in high school there's a head boy or a head girl, that doesn't mean that a 30-year-old will come and be the head girl. The people in that space are the ones to occupy. So once we are 18, we are able to take over these spaces because that is the space that we are in. Will someone come back from it, whether they're 18? Even people who are 50 don't recover from losing elections. So it doesn't really matter about the age. I think it's at an individual level whereby you learn how to deal with things as an individual, and these things are different for everybody. So it can't be a blanket statement that 18-year-olds cannot deal with loss of an election. That's not true.
Very quickly, because we need a response, then we go into a break. Yes.
As we go on that break, I want us to think about the great Tom Mboya and how old he was when he got into that cabinet. Or Musalia Mudavadi, who to date is still here. How old was he when he was appointed into cabinet? So yes, age is important, but then we need to believe more in the ability of the person, what they are able to do, what their vision is, and if they are true to the calling.
And look beyond age in that case. A very quick response
I
from
think, His Excellency, you need to get me right, because the idea that life begins at birth, or no, at conception legally. Sorry, life begins at conception. From conception to 17 years, that is what I was discussing, that there has to be a contractual age for a person to be graduating from a child to an adult. From 18 to 35, I'm clearly with you, because at that age, even youths form 70% of the Kenyan population. So even you at your age, which is below 35 years, you can win anything in this nation, even being a president in this nation. That I trust so much. There are various leaders who are even presidents at years which were below 20 years. When you look at South Korea, when you look at Muammar Gaddafi, those are people who became presidents at the age of around 28 years old. Fidel Castro at 32 of Cuba. So I tend to believe that the age between 18 to 35, these people can get anything in the nation, whatever thing they vie for. I will disagree a little bit with my brother concerning the issue of aggression and violence in politics. That does not bring votes. In fact, when you go to look for votes aggressively, you lose, because
I question that, Mheshimiwa, because the politics that we do witness, oftentimes, not just Kenya, but a lot of places, if I can talk about Africa, it is marred by aggression, violence, a lot of vitriol, sort of like speaking badly about your opponent, talking them down. And it almost seems like if you're the kind of person who has a soft demeanor, even though you have a powerful message.
Like me.
And I do want to question, we've heard, Mheshimiwa, we've heard some of your outbursts. Let me put you on the spot for a minute. But we do know that in the past there have been moments that you've been very aggressive in some of the things that you've said.
Let me correct you, Janet. I wasn't aggressive. I was passionate to ensure that my people.
Are you sure it wasn't a fine line?
They are inherent and inalienable.
So where does aggression and passion start and end? Because a lot of people might argue, no, he came out, it almost was rude, speaking badly about the elders. I think there were so many conversations around it. Even though, of course, your constituents were incredibly proud of you, do you not sometimes look back and say, I could have handled that better?
Let me tell you, I think during my leadership at the university, that was the best leadership ever as the longest serving student leader on earth. I think I did best. That's why those people kept on electing me. We always but only for the best interest of Americans. As Babu Owino, when you're talking that I was trying to probably talk rude about my elders, actually the media got it wrong, and probably for their wisdom or lack of the same, they decided to misconstrue my statements, and they brought in my statements as just statements of abuses. Now let me explain to you what I meant. Let me explain to you what I meant with my statements. Okay? People thought that I abused probably His Excellency the President's mom. It wasn't the case. Now, I said that if Gaddafi alitolewa na wananchi, if Bagbo and Yahya Jammeh walitolewa na wananchi, what perception did we have about these leaders? Dictatorship. Wewe ni nani? Wewe ni mtoto wa mbwa. You are a puppy compared to the bulldogs. If these bulldogs who are dictators were the people, these are bulldogs, you are a puppy, mtoto wa mbwa. You cannot compare president or presidents with somebody's mom. So it was mere statements of puff and misrepresentation from the media.
I want to give everybody a chance to go deeper into whether vitriol, aggression, violence after the break, and get your views as well. But when we come back, we will delve into the violence that mars a lot of our elections, policy, and the future of youth in politics after the break.